Welcome to another exciting episode of the Million Dollar Peddlers. I'm Paperboy.
I'm Mr. Magazine.
Mr. Magazine.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you a little something about a good friend of the channel, Don the Auction Professor.
Okay.
He has commented before on his videos, so I'm not telling anything out there. Do like and subscribe to him if you haven't already. I'm not saying anything out there that isn't public knowledge. He says he has a 3x pricing strategy.
Okay.
So if he thinks something's worth $25, he'll price it up at $75. Sometimes it sells at that, and sometimes he'll run a pretty good sale on it and end up selling it for $40 or something like that. But he's still doing fairly well on it because it gives him a lot of room. Do you have a pricing strategy?
So my pricing strategy has changed over the years.
Okay.
Was very low. Then we learned that some of our stuff could be better if we marketed it better. From that other person we were watching. So. My average magazine price might have been $8, $10. Then we went up to $20, $25 or so. Now, since the market's kind of in a decline, we're taking lower offers on that stuff. But generally, I try to go with average eBay price or even higher comps. And then if it doesn't sell in auction, I'll raise it $5 or $10 and then take the offer. So say a magazine I put up for $15. Say the average for $10, I'll put it up for $15. If it doesn't sell, I'll jack it up to $20 or $21 because then I can take 50% of that and still be happy selling it for $10, maybe $9 or $8, but it's still in my wheelhouse, and I want to get that $10 minimum out of a magazine plus shipping.
And roughly across your product line, roughly how many items do you research the price, or you or your employees research the price before you list versus how many items, and I'm not talking on Amazon, I'm strictly talking eBay because Amazon's a different animal. Right. Just on eBay, how many items do you research the price on before you list versus how many do you just kind of list at a given price?
Well, plus I think, for Don, does he do that across the board no matter what his items he's selling? Because for me, it's different. So magazines will do that. Like toys and comics and sports, certain things you can't put a Kirby Puckett rookie that's worth $8 up for $25. You'll never sell it. I mean, maybe Don can. I know I couldn't. Or if you had the Superman where he dies, a black comic, that's about $15-$20. You can't put $60 on it. It just, in my opinion, will never sell.
Well, here's what's funny. I think you must have read my paperwork over here because that was kind of the next point I was going to make. But
like toys, like certain things you just can't. If you had a Rolex, you can't. If you had a $10,000 Rolex, you can't put 30. You can, but smart eBayers that have 10 grand in their pocket know they're going to pay 8, 10, 12 grand for that Rolex because there's 5 of them on eBay and they're going to get the best one for the best price from the best dealer. So it all depends on what it is.
Right. So what percentage do you look up versus what percentage do you just list on the fly?
And again, it's probably the toys. We would look up toys because those are pretty volatile. Comics, if it's graded, we'll look them up because I may know like, hey, the Spider-Man comics were $25, but
there's a big difference between a 9.2 and a 9.6.
We could have a 6, we could have a 9, so we'll look the graded comics up. Autographed items, we definitely look up because more variables. Does they have a generic COA? Does they have a JSA COA, PSA, and all that jazz? So that type of stuff we do look up. So I would say a good 25% to 33% we look up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I probably look up 5%, and that might be on the high side overall. And for whatever reason, I just don't. And part of that reason might be because I'm into such oddball, obscure items.
Yeah.
The odds of somebody having the Illustrated London News from January 31st, 1962, it is what it is. It's probably not a $200 magazine. Those, in all the time that I've been doing this, I haven't found a $200 Illustrated London News, and things like that. So I get into these oddball little things over there that I'm like, it's not. And then the flip side of that, which maybe we'll do a longer video on at some point, is sometimes, and I think more and more people are starting to realize this, that say I picked up a pile of Playbills from the 1960s. There may be a $100 Playbill in there.
Yeah.
And there might be an $80 Playbill in there. Leave it, nothing signed, nothing like that. Just regular Playbills. But the time that I would spend to look up all 100 of those,
exactly.
If I just took them and put them at $25 a piece.
I was just getting to that for myself. I just had that same thing happen the other day. So I picked up thousands of signed sports cards from a guy that went all over the stadiums, and they were all legitimate. We checked them out, and I sorted them out by year and brand. So 11987 Donruss, but they're all signed.
Yeah.
And I would look through them. I'm like, if there's someone good, we're gonna go $10.99 a piece. But do I want to spend 20 minutes looking through them if there's one better card in there?
Well, and here's the whole thing. It could be what you were, 87 Donruss?
Yeah.
There could have been somebody that died right after
Kirby Puckett
87.
Kirby Puckett was in there. And okay, how much you want for it? How much you want for it? And it'll find its price. So I'm not concerned. I put $10.99 because I know it'll go for $50, $60, $100.
Well, no, but I'm even thinking there might be some lesser player that died right after then, and it could be a tough autograph on that card.
Remember that we had that one traded one, which it must be a rare autograph on the traded card. But,
yep.
So.
But again, it finds its price. Right. That's the whole thing. So
and that stuff like that I don't worry about, because if I paid $2 a card and I'm getting 8 or 10 on them after fees, I'm making double my money. Whatever, I don't care because I paid X amount on the board. But what I'm more concerned is if I buy a big toy collection or big autograph collection, I'm paying $10, $20 a piece. Then I don't want to sell them too low. I want to make sure I make a good profit. I'm paying good money for good stuff. If I pay 40, 50% of what they're going for, I don't want to just say, $20 across the board, because then you could lose your shorts on eBay doing that.
See, and that's kind of interesting. We really do have to do another video at some point, because one thing that I get into is a lot of the original art that I win from Heritage. And I don't look up what anybody else is selling it for, because number one, it's one of a kind. And number two, I know what I have into it.
Yeah.
And the way I look at it is a one-of-a-kind piece, and if I've got $40 into it and I can get $120 out of it, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, for my $40 bid, I'm not getting Jack Kirby. I'm not getting Steve Ditko. I'm not getting the top of the top where you'd want to look it up.
But if it's unique, you can put 3 times your price on it. I totally agree with something like that. But if you say you bought a book collection, you paid $5 per book, and they're worth $30 on eBay, you can make your good money. Are you going to put $90 on each book?
No, I would not. Right. And that brings up the last point, which Mr. Magazine touched on earlier, because he likes spoiling the surprise. How much of our difficulties in pricing early on do you think coming from the comic book and sports card world? And to reiterate, as Mr. Magazine said, if I've got a card that in grade books at $50, and we're going to leave out, it's not some super rare card. I mean, obviously it's some 1872 card. You can throw the guide out the window. You can charge whatever you want on that. Because, the guide says it's $120. You can put $600 on it. It's an 1872 card. There might be 4 of them, in the world ever for sale.
Yeah.
But you've got a Louis Aparicio rookie card. Well, it's worth what it's worth in that condition. It's a $40 card. It's a $40 card. And one of the problems is coming from the trade that we come from, a lot of people, 75%, we'll give you a 25% off guide. So that $40 card, they want $30 on.
Yeah.
You can't go out and price that card at $100 because it's not going to sell. Same thing with comic books, unless you're into something obscure, something rare.
And even if you're taking offers, people get scared away that I can buy this for $40. You're asking $100. I'm not going to make you a $30
offer.
You're not going to bite on that.
Yeah, the guy who was asking $40 taking offers is more likely to take a $30 offer than the guy asking $120 on it. I mean, just common sense will tell you that. But how much of our pricing difficulties do you think came from the trades that we came from? Because they did have price guides.
Yeah.
And again, the stuff we were dealing in had agreed upon prices within the trade.
Yeah. I mean, we still had knowledge of that type of stuff from experience. We collected our whole lives, but still, eBay world is different than Overstreet, So, and that's something you live and learn as you go. Doesn't matter what's in the guide. It matters what people are selling for. We get a lot of people always trying to sell me stuff. Well, it books like this in guide, or the best is Funko Pops. I got them on my phone. My account's on Funko. They say they're worth $1,200. Well, on eBay you can buy them for $700. So I'm going to base my price off the $700 on eBay because that's where I'm selling them. Funko's just trying to hype up their items, So, but yeah.
I think the only thing that I would disagree with both of us about, so here I'm disagreeing with myself, is I have picked up collections of Funny Animal Golden Age. And I do go above guide on those. And you've seen them sell before.
Sure.
But the reason why is because I'm not trying to sell them to comic book collectors. I will list what's on the cover. So you'll have Woody Woodpecker fishing. I'm selling it to somebody who collects fishing covers or is interested in fishing.
Yes.
I've got one where I've sold a number of them where barber. People collect barber covers.
Yeah.
If you collect barber covers and it's the only one on there, you're not pulling out Overstreet and going, well, in this condition, it's worth $12. This guy's asking $20 for it. Right. No big deal. I'm going to buy it because I'm buying it for a barber cover.
Yeah.
I'm not buying it because it's Woody Woodpecker 114.
Yeah.
So there are those few exceptions when you can get away with charging more than it. And that was one where I did pick up a whole bunch of comic books at an estate sale. And I did the same thing that you did where I said, I'm not going to sit and look every one of these books up. I'm just not going to do it. I have enough knowledge of books to know there's, obviously the superhero stuff's a different story. There wasn't any superhero stuff. I said, I'm just going to price these across the board at $24, or if I think it's better, I'm going to price it at $32, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I don't care what it guides for. And some things I'm sure I priced a little below guide. Some things I priced way above guide.
Yeah.
But I was able to get them all listed in an afternoon, just pounding them out. And
sure.
Did I sell something for $24 that was worth $35? Probably. But I paid $1.50. So what do I care?
Right.
So hopefully that helps you a little bit. It was a bit of a discussion we had today, and hopefully that helped you a little bit there with pricing strategies and how to go about it. Do hit the like button if you could. That's the strategy we all can follow. And we will see you next video.
Take care. Bye-bye.